Nasty, corroded battery terminals, a 4-year-old battery, and a 27-year-old alternator? Yeah, I think it's time for an upgrade. First things first, disconnect the battery. As you can see, these terminals are nasty. These aren't that old. I replaced these terminals when I replaced the battery 4 years ago. And for that reason, I'm never going to use another lead acid battery. I'm going to stick with AGMs. It makes way more sense. I love working on Fords from the mid-90s. Back when Ford decided it was a great idea to mix metric and standard bolts on the same vehicle. Case in point being this battery hold down being a 7mm bolt. Alright, battery coming out. Next up, gotta get the alternator out. The alternator itself isn't too hard to get out, honestly. First thing you have to do is take the belt off. You have 3 bolts that hold it down, 1 here and 2 on the bottom behind this loom. Then you have 2 plugs on the back side and 1 little nut that you have to take off to get this wire off. Take the belt off. Simply use this your tensioner pulley, loosen it up, slide the belt out, and you're good to go. Old parts and my new parts. Got the military style terminals. I have some other terminals, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, with some wire and my new alternator. Let's pull out this alternator and take a look at it, because it is not exactly the same. First of all, it's what they call a large case alternator. When you stick them together, you can see that the new one is a little bit bigger. Mounting points are the same. That's not a big deal. But how you can tell a small case versus a large case, the small case has the 4 holes in the ribs on the sides. Large case has the 2 holes in the ribs. Okay, new alternator is in. Like I said, it bolts right in place. Pretty easy upgrade. However, I'm going to do one other thing. This is the harness that plugs into the alternator right here. And this is your charge wire. That's what bolts on to the lug on the back of the alternator. Follows this loom up and comes out right here at the starter relay. And it's this wire right here. And that's what charges your battery. That's maybe an 8-gauge wire. I'm going to upgrade that. I'm not going to take this wire out. I am simply going to add another wire to it. Since it's able to carry, or it's able to produce much higher amperage, I want to make sure that the battery gets all of that. And I don't want to overheat anything. Okay, I just gave my terminals a little bit of a cleanup. That's why I hate lead acid batteries. They leak, they cause corrosion. Now, it's time for some of my favorite stuff, some rust reformer. I'm going to spray it on the battery tray just to clean it up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to show you how I like to solder ends onto larger gauge wire. With these bigger lugs, I like to fill them up with solder, heat them up, melt the solder, stick them on. Start heating it up and feeding solder into it once it gets heated up. Once I have a good puddle in there, simply take the wire and feed it in. Hold it together for a couple seconds till it cools, and you're good to go. There you go. And don't forget your heat shrink. I keep a butane lighter, a little torch, makes this job so much easier. There you have it. Nice solid connection. And it's back together. As you can see, these military style terminals, I like them. Makes things neat and tidy. You can see how it, you can hook up a couple terminals to it quick and easy, and it looks neat. You can see I ran the extra 6-gauge wire. I just took it into the stock harness, followed that, wrapped it in some of this cloth electrical tape. Cloth is so much better. It doesn't turn into that sticky goo that the regular rubberized black tape does. Anyway, runs up here to the starter solenoid. Just plugged it in. So the same route that it went from the factory. And from there, it runs back through the main battery cable back to here. So at this point, I think my charging system's ready to go. Let's fire it up, see how she does. Look at that, it's charging. Working like it should. Alright, well there you have it. A quick, easy way to upgrade the charging system in your late model Bronco. Like I said, this one is a 130 amp alternator. The stock alternator was 95 amps. The one I bought was for I believe it was a 94 Econoline van with 130 amp option. It bolts right in, the plugs are the same. All I did was upgrade the charge cable from the alternator to the battery. So stick around if you like this. Please click the like button, subscribe, it really helps me out, and tune in next time.